Here we are, almost to the end, one lesson away, lesson 9 of stage 3 of the Power Playbook community titled Fix Your Body, Learning About Fitness. And for today's lesson, we're going to teach you guys how to follow a plan, create a plan, first of all, then follow it, track our progress, stay motivated, learn how to build and stick to our successful fitness journey. Stuttered over myself there. Anyways, this one's absolutely pivotal for you guys. So up to this point, we've learned pretty much all the applicable concepts we need as far as like physically applicable, right? So you're going to go into the gym, you're going to do your weight training, you're going to do your cardiovascular training, you're going to work on your mobility and your stretching, you're going to eat well, and that's all great. How do we structure this in our lives so that we actually stick to it and we follow it? Well, you do that by creating a plan, and then you track your progress so that you can actually ensure that you're progressing instead of just getting stagnant and being like, oh yeah, I eat well every day and I lift. Why haven't I seen any gains? It's like, well, if you were tracking what you were doing, you would know that, oh, it's actually been 2 weeks since I even attempted anything heavier in this lift. Or it's actually been 2 weeks that I've gone, kind of slipping away from the nutrition plan that I've been doing. So you got to track your progress to ensure that you're actually progressing, right? If that makes sense. And then staying motivated. How are we going to avoid plateaus? How are we going to keep ourselves accountable moving forward? And with that, let's go into our overview for today. We're going to learn how to create a fitness routine. We're going to talk about creating one. We're going to talk about tracking progress along the way, staying consistent so that we can actually see lasting results and not just, those, I like to call it a lot of people call it this, but it's been a thing that I've noticed for a long time, obviously, but those New Year's resolutioners, the New Year's resolution gains where like everyone is in the gym, everyone's doing something, and then come February, kind of starts to die out, and by March, it's just the same people that are always there. Maybe a few new ones, hopefully a few new ones. Hopefully you guys can, whether or not it's January or not, doesn't matter. Hopefully you guys will actually commit and stay longer than a month, but that's a real concept that it goes by. If you guys are in the gym around January, look out for that. It's kind of funny actually. But anyways, you want to stay consistent. You want to adapt as you go stronger, the concept of progressive overload we always talk about. And you want to maintain an internal drive to be doing this kind of thing. So we'll talk about all these concepts. All right, following a structured plan. Here are some just general tips to go about creating your structured plan, okay? What you want the plan to look like is it needs to align with your goals. So if you can think back all the way to lesson 2, where we talked about how to take your objective, turn it into goals, the plan you create for yourself, and when I say the plan, I mean like with your dieting, with when are you going to rest, how are you going to make sure you drink enough water in a day, when are you going to hit what muscle groups at the gym, when are you going to do your cardio, are you including all the major muscle groups, are you hitting them at least once a week? That's the plan. All of that, everything we've taught you in this series of lessons under the fitness sector of the Power Playbook community is the plan going forward, and it's up to you to create it. Okay, we're teaching you how, up to you to create it, because creating a plan is a very personable thing. I can't just tell everyone in one lesson, oh, I'm going to tell you how to do it, but I can't just tell you do this exactly, because not everybody has the same goals, right? Not everybody has the same financial means. Not everybody has the same ability to get to a gym. Not everybody's starting on the same capability even. So we're teaching you how to do it. Okay, make sure when you're doing it, the plan aligns with your original goals and objectives. If your goal is to lose weight, don't go ahead making a plan that's tailored around tailored around exercises and routines and diet that might cause you to gain weight. That doesn't make any sense. Also, you got to fit all these concepts into your own current schedule, right? We're not asking you to just drop whatever it is you're doing. Some people work from home. Some people are gone from work for 12, 14 hours a day. That was my dad my whole life, right? I know how it is. I know it's difficult to find time. What you're going to have to do is create time, right? Creating time. How can you go about doing that? Well, you can either outsource, and when I say outsource, that just means, maybe have your wife do this thing for you if she has some extra time so that you can focus on going to the gym. Maybe it means cutting something out that you don't really need to attend to anymore. Maybe it means you have to give up playing Fortnite a little bit extra each day. Tough, I know. But you got to fit exercise into your schedule. You got to fit, and it's more difficult when you first start, but eventually it just becomes normal for you. It becomes the way you live instead of just something you work in. And so I promise it gets easier down the line. Or perhaps you just get better at it. But either way, That, and you want to choose an exercise. You want to choose exercises and a way of eating, and by that I mean a nutrition plan that you enjoy. You definitely don't want to just get in there and you're only eating broccoli and dry chicken with no seasoning because the macros are super great. The macronutrients and micro, you know what I mean. The macros are just super great. And then a week later, you're like, I actually think I'll throw up if I have to even smell cooked broccoli one more time. You're not going to stick to that. Choose a nutrition plan that hits all the concepts we talked about in the nutrition lesson, and go from there. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect all the time. You just need to hit something that's allowing you to get all the nutrients you need and in a timely manner. Same thing with exercises. As long as you are hitting every muscle group once a week at least, you're doing your cardio, you're doing your mobility, you're stretching before and after, dynamic and static, right? And you're committing yourself to sticking to it, then that's fine. Do it in a way you enjoy. Do it that is in a way that like motivates you to go. Like if you notice that you perform worse in the beginning of the day because you're super tired, you're not a morning person, go in the evening. Make it something you enjoy, not something you dread waking up to. And then last of all, you want to make a routine you can commit to. Obviously, if you work and you don't get a lunch break, like where you get to leave the job site, or you only get 30 minutes, maybe 30 minutes isn't enough time to drive to a gym, work out, come back. I get an hour at lunch. I work an office job and I work right next to my gym. So I just kind of walk over there a lot of the time. So it works for me to go during lunch. But if it doesn't for you, make the routine something you actually can commit to that's realistic for you. Make it so that you're not worried about, oh, am I going to have time to make it? Create it in a way that is actually realistic and committable to. So with that, we're going to get into some ways, they're really kind of just tips. They're really just like, I guess you could view them as steps, but it's more like things to consider to create a basic plan for yourself. Because like I said, I can't create a plan for all of you at once. We can do that for sure with like one-on-one consulting. Definitely reach out to me for that. But like I'm giving you enough information at this point to be able to kind of, on your own, plan something for yourself that makes a little sense. And we'll have some stuff thrown in the chat, examples of what this might look like. But anyways, that set aside, here's how, part one, there's going to be 2 slides for this, how to create a structured plan for yourself. First step, grab yourself a pen and paper or an Excel sheet or a Word doc, open up ChatGPT if you're savvy on that, if you've ever used it, if you understand how it works, how to write prompts. Super helpful tool. Because you don't want to just like have this in your mind that you're going to do these things and then you're going to have too much to track and then it ends up that you actually did none of it. You want to write it down. You want to type it down. You want to have some sort of actual copy of your thoughts that's actually structured day by day that you can read and see for yourself. Here's what I have planned, and you actually go do it and then check off that box, right? You don't want to just have this in your mind. So first step, find a way to write this down. Second step, start with your weight training. Incorporate your weight training first. Hit every muscle group weekly. So first thing I would do is I would grab a pen and paper or an Excel sheet, and I would say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, you throw the weekend in there however you want. Or if you want to do it by like 7 days, whatever it is, the days of the week is probably the easiest. And I would say, okay, every week on Monday, I will, for example, hit chest. Every week on Tuesday, I will hit back. Every week on Thursday, shoulders and arms, or just shoulders, shoulders and arms, whatever. Every week on, what is that? We're on Thursday now, so Wednesday, Thursday. On Thursday, I'll hit legs. On Friday, I'll hit core. Saturday and Sunday, I'll do some active rest. Just fine, okay? Incorporate weight training. Just make sure you're hitting every muscle group at least once a week. Plan for cardio. So if you do that, so let's build up on that weekly thing I just talked about. Let's say, as a beginner, you're pretty new, cardio is difficult for you, maybe you're overweight, whatever it is, doesn't really matter. Throw in on the days, so like let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 days a week, you're going to do cardio. What is it you're going to do? That's another thing I'm going to say. When you incorporate weight training and your cardio, write down exactly what you will do. You, as a person that has been in the gym long enough, you can kind of get away with like, well, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to get in there and figure it out based off what feels well. Last week I did I think I did incline bench press both times I hit chest. Maybe I should do some flat bench press. We don't want to just overwork that upper half of the chest, right? Let's be some more let's be more overall symmetric, right? That works for somebody who's been in the gym for a while. It does not work for a beginner who doesn't even if you don't even really understand fully how to do the things that we've taught you, write them down, research them, and then go. So when I say I'm going to hit chest, I would write down chest and I would say bench press, incline dumbbell press, chest flies. There you go. Now you know exactly what you're going to do when you go hit it. And you can even go so far as to say, for the bench press, I'm going to do a warm-up, 2 warm-up sets. I'm going to do 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions of this weight. And obviously you can't really put down something that specific if you don't even know what is feasible for you in the gym. But as specific as you can be, write it down. I promise it will help. So plan for the weight training, then incorporate your cardio. Write down on the day, I'm going to do 20 minutes of the Stairmaster machine. I'm going to do 15 minutes jog on the treadmill. I'm going to do the cardio bike, whatever it is. I'm going to walk around with my wife because on this day, on this day I'm going to go to my son's baseball practice. It's just and I'm going to do that for cardio, whatever it is. If you're already an athlete, or maybe you're a part of another group or some sort of club in high school that does physical activity, okay, this is what's going to count for my cardio today. I expect to do this for a certain amount of time. Write it down. Just write it down. Same thing with rest days. Schedule them, or at least be good enough. I would recommend you to schedule them out the gate. I'm going to work out this many days a week, rest this many days. If you get to a point where you've been in the gym for a while, you're a little more advanced, you can also just schedule and say, here's the order in which I will continue to work out. And if I notice that I feel like I need to rest today, like I woke up, I'm really tired, it's been 5 days since I had a rest day, maybe I should take one. You can also identify signifiers of needed rest. I've tried that route before. I saw the same amount of gains I usually do, but I eventually switched back because I feel like it's better to have a plan and to follow the plan. That's just my opinion. But I also understand the side argument that's if I feel great and it's only been 3 or 4 days, but I have a scheduled rest day, why would I waste that day of me feeling great when I have other days that I feel terrible? Why would I waste a day of feeling great on just resting? Go to the gym. I understand both sides. You can kind of be flexible. You don't have to be super rigid. All I'm offering is, as a beginner, schedule out and be as specific as you can for all of these components. That's all I'm offering. If you want to figure out later that it works for you to kind of just go on a day-by-day basis for when you should rest, that's fine too. For now, try the scheduling tactic. Okay, that's all I have to offer for that. And then consider nutrition, balanced nutrition. That's the last thing on this slide as far as the tips to creating. I guess that's the next step is what I'm trying to say. After you've got weight training down, you've got cardio, you've got your rest days, then you kind of go into, okay, training's pretty much taken care of. And then you write down, I think it might be on the next slide, but you got your mobility and your stretching and stuff. When am I going to do that? Oh, I'll do that on my active rest days. Once you've got all that written down, consider your nutrition plans. So I work with people all the time where I actually just create nutrition plans for them. And if that's something you're interested in, reach out. But you can do this yourself, 100%. This is where maybe ChatGPT would come in. If you know how to use that, you can 100% just type in, hey, I'm working with this kind of budget. This is my goal in fitness. This is what I've got as a workout regimen. This is where I want to take this. This is my goal, my objective. Give me some sort of weekly meal plan that avoids this food, includes lots of this food. Make sure I get all my vitamins, minerals, proteins. Here's the amount of protein I'm trying to get. And make sure my meals are, 60 or 40% protein, 30% fat, 30% carbs. You can be as specific as you want. And I love this tool. Chat will throw out a weekly, and you got to tailor it obviously, because sometimes it'll throw in some weird stuff because it's obviously not perfect, but that's a huge tool. You 100% either can just, by the knowledge we've given you, write down, okay, I know that, these examples of foods are high in protein, and I have this all the time in my house. I'm going to make sure I eat lots of chicken, lots of beef for my protein. You can even look into supplementation. I just didn't want to include that in the beginning because I don't think it's helpful to go tell a beginner in the gym, oh, you need to go purchase all these supplements. You really don't need to. They are just that. They are a supplement. They are made to supplement what you are not consuming in the day by itself. So for what that's worth, worry about the food, the thing you can control for now. Like just worry about the food you're eating. Worry about that later, as far as supplements goes. But anyways, after all that's written down, consider nutrition. Write down day by day. Like I said, be as specific as you can. This day I'm going to cook this meal, or maybe I'm going to meal prep a bunch of these so I can have this for lunch every day. And this day I will have consumed this much protein, and I'm just going to try and do that every single day. This might become monotonous for you, and it might become, especially if you're a person that might be overweight because you enjoy eating. I love eating too, and this has been a struggle for me as well. Dieting or considering balanced nutrition does not equate to getting rid of completely of your favorite foods. It 100% could just mean, and it meant this for me for a long time. When I was still living at my house, it was I ate the same thing for breakfast, the same thing for lunch, and dinner was whatever my mom made. I didn't have that planned out. It 100% could just be I'm taking these steps to try and make this consistent, that I'm at least getting this X amount of protein, that I'm at least eating this X amount of fruits and vegetables so I can have my vitamins and minerals. I'm getting my calcium in, getting my iron in. I'm getting enough carbs before I work out, to fuel my workout, and that's fine. And that's just fine. It's okay to not know exactly what you're going to eat every single day. Bodybuilders do that. People that are super serious about their, if they have a specific goal they're training for, and nutrition can come down to the wire as to whether or not you make it, just fine. But I'm not advising a beginner to write down exactly every calorie or exactly every, gram of protein, every whatever the I don't even know what the measurements for. I think it kind of differs for vitamins and minerals are. Just have an idea. Just write down your goals. Have an idea of I have plenty of this meat. I'm going to cook it for this X amount of meals, and try to each day avoid just eating bread, just eating carbs. When I say that, it's because it's so common for people to just you get up in the morning, you have a piece of toast, you have cereal, bread. When I say bread, it's mostly just carbs, sugar, whatever. Then you go to lunch, you have a hamburger. There's protein in the meat, a lot of fat. It's all bread. You're eating bread and fries. You're just eating carbs, right? And then you come home for dinner and you have pizza rolls while you play video games. Bread, once again, oils, fat, no protein. Just be mindful. I'm not saying you have to write down exactly what you're going to eat every minute of the day. Do some research onto other foods that are high in your protein. Ask ChatGPT to put together a schedule for you on what groceries I should buy for this week. How can I properly schedule what I'm going to eat? And if you really want to, go right ahead and plan out every meal. All I'm saying is write down on top of your training regimen for the week your general idea. And if you want to go more specific, I always say the more specific, the better for each of these aspects. I'll quit harping on that. Part 2. Next thing is to look at your weekly tasks. That's kind of already in. No, I guess not. Look at your weekly tasks and make time for the gym. If you know that on Tuesday you're booked all throughout the day, make that your rest day. If you know that you have a lot of extra time on Wednesday, go hit the gym. Go, if you notice that you only can go at a certain time on Thursday, go during that time. You don't have to do it at the same time every single day. It's not as important as we mentioned in the nutrition plan thing, where it's or the nutrition lesson rather. It's not as important when you eat it. It's important, but not as important as ensuring it gets consistently done every day. So apply the same thing for the gym. And you want to plan them out by week. You can go, months out. You can go days out. I wouldn't recommend that. You can do about 2 weeks bi-weekly. I think it's easier to do it week by week, because week by week is almost the same amount of days as muscle groups you have to hit. So it's really easy to just focus on the muscle groups week by week, and you can kind of just generally plan, because I know that my wife and I, we're buying groceries for what we're going to eat, sometimes every week, sometimes every other week. But I think a week is a good frame to just have a glance. On a Sunday night, you're saying, okay, Monday's starting, I got work, I got gym, I got to prioritize my nutrition and sleep. Here's what it's going to look like for a week. And the weekend comes, you reset, you reevaluate, see what worked, see what didn't, you try again next. And I think that's a good time frame to do all of that. And then meals, when I say plan by day, you 100% can do the weekly thing, like I mentioned in the previous slide. Sometimes it's easier just to have all the ingredients And by day, you say, okay, here's what I'm going to do with this amount of ingredients. Here's what I'm going to do today. Here's what I'm going to do tomorrow. Sometimes it's easier to plan it by day. It doesn't really matter. You can plan it by day, plan it by week. You just want to plan it. Planning sleep, it sounds dumb. It sounds like, why would I need to plan sleep when obviously I'm going to sleep every single night? But I promise you, if you can commit yourself to planning to go to sleep at, let's say, 9:30 p.m., because you get up at, what would that be? 5:30? Yeah, 9 to 5 is 8 hours. Because you get up at 5:30, and then let's say you don't plan that out, and you just think to yourself, yeah, I would like to get to 8 hours of sleep. But then it comes time to sleep, and you look at the clock, it's like 11 p.m., and you're like, oh, wow, where did that time go? It's like, well, you didn't really have a plan for that in the begin with. So if you can plan for that, plan exactly what time you'll go to sleep, what days you're going to rest, I promise you, you'll be far more likely to actually follow through with that, just like anything else we taught you. Last step, just get it done. I mean, if this is overwhelming for you, ask ChatGPT for help, ask me for help, throw it in the chat. This is a community for a reason. We're here to help each other. So get it done no matter what it takes. Just plan it. I promise you, everything you plan and as specific as possible, you will benefit from doing so. This is not just like like no famous bodybuilder has ever won Mr. Olympia by just kind of winging it. Their life is so structured, you have no idea. No power lifter, no athlete, no, MLB player, nobody that's fit achieves what they do professionally. No, definitely not no MMA fighter. Any MMA fighter, I should say. Like these professionals' lives are so structured you couldn't even imagine, right? Like they have what they're going to eat down to the exact macro, especially for bodybuilding. They have, obviously this ranges for athlete to athlete, but you get what I'm saying, right? They know exactly what they're getting into week by week, day by day even. So try and do the same. Smaller scale, obviously. None of us are going to the Olympia. None of us are, in the NFL, maybe one day. But for now, as a beginner, just write it down. Just have a plan for yourself. And these are the points that I have for you in making a plan. Okay, so now you've got the plan made. You've incorporated everything we taught you. How do you track progress? Well, what you want to do, I guess let's talk about what tracking progress looks like. Tracking progress is just monitoring the physical changes that happen and monitoring like improvements you see in yourself. So let's say you're working on bench press, you're brand new to the gym. You start out with you can hit 135 pretty easy, which is just a 45-pound plate on each side of the bar. And then in a month, you notice that that's pretty easy. So you start to throw on an extra 10 pounds and you're like, oh, wow, I actually can do this now for 8 to 12 reps. Write that down. Monitor your physical change. And the reason you do that is because this is actual motivation through visible results. So if you can see in yourself, at one point you might have been thinking, man, this is tough. I hate getting up every day for this. It's time consuming. And you keep thinking like that to yourself. In a month, when it actually becomes easier and you can actually start to see your body change positively, it's a motivation factor where you're like, oh, this is actually working for me. This is not just like me wasting my time. It also shows where some adjustments might be necessary. So if you write down in your journal, whatever it is you're tracking progress in, maybe in the same document that you have your plan, write down, hey, it's been like a month and I haven't seen any progress in like my weight gain or loss, in my strength. What's going on? Reevaluate. Maybe notice that, it's actually been quite easy for me to do what I've been putting myself through. I don't really struggle that much in the gym. Maybe it's time to increase the intensity and then reevaluate after another month. And you'll probably find, oh, hey, that's what it was. I just wasn't going hard enough. Okay. That's a super common thing to have happen. And then also, obviously, it encourages new goal setting because as you achieve the goals you wrote down from like lesson 2, as you achieve them by means of listening to what we taught you, and then actually going out and applying it, learning from your mistakes and from your wins, you're going to have to set new goals, and it's going to encourage new goal setting. And then achieving your goals will be motivation for continuously setting new ones so you can achieve further. And it's just kind of a snowball effect of positivity on yourself. So with that, here's some ways to track progress. This is a common one if you're trying to lose weight. Record your weight or like waist measurements, arm measurements, whatever. Like that's pretty common. Like sometimes, especially bodybuilding, if that's the track you're interested in, they'll measure they have exact measurements of their arms, their chest, their shoulders. the legs, the waist. Waist is probably the most common one if you're trying to lose weight, because that's commonly where fat is stored, is around the midriff, around the stomach and back. It's the left hand, those kind of thing, your sides. So that's a way to track progress. Record how much you weigh in pounds, or if you're outside the U.S., whatever, kilograms, the metric system. Record your weight weekly. I wouldn't do it every day because you're going to see fluctuations every day anyways, based off how much water and food you've had, how well you slept, things like that to go into it. Another way is to actively track the sets, reps, and weight and perceived effort of your workouts. So if you're tracking, that you've done the optimal thing for hypertrophy, which is some warm-up sets and then 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions, and I'm getting real close to failure by rep 12, or whatever rep it is that you can get to between 8 and 12. And I did that with this weight, and it was this difficult for me. Easy way to see over time, maybe it's becoming, too easy for me, or hey, this day, I felt like this was super difficult for me for some reason, and it's not usually. Well, maybe that's some reflection to say, well, did I sleep well last night? Am I properly hydrated? Did I eat as much as I usually do by this time today? Have I hit my protein goals? It's a way for you to reflect on the effort that you've been putting in. So that's why we advise to actively track what it is you do in the gym. You'll see people all the time, like with a little book or like an app. There's apps for this too. I don't use any. I've been in the gym long enough to kind of just track this in my head. But there's a lot of apps out there available that allow you to do this kind of thing. So look into those. Log every improvement for sure. When you're a beginner, you start to notice that you're getting stronger. You start to notice your chest is more developed. You're feeling better. You get your first pump, which is the feeling of blood rushing to the muscle because you're working it so hard. Feels awesome. I still am addicted to that feeling to this day. I love getting a pump every day. Log that. If you feel for the first time, wow, my biceps look awesome right now because I just did an arm and shoulder day. Log that. Remember what it feels like to feel like you're winning. That's a huge advantage to yourself, to just motivate yourself in that way. And another way to track progress would be through progress pictures of yourself, right? So this is what every client of a fitness coach does. That's the first thing they have them do. Hey, what do you look like? Especially if you're doing online training. Hey, what do you look like from the front, from the side, from the back? Let's see what we're working with here. And then over the months, we'll take, let's say in a month from now, we take another picture. In a month from now, we take another picture, doing the same stances. And you see in a year's time, you didn't really feel like day to day that you were making a lot of improvements. But if you compare the picture from the start to the end, you're like, wow, that was a huge difference, right? And that, once again, motivation, that's a way to track the progress you made, and that feels good. So those are some simple ways to track progress. Let's talk about holding yourself accountable and avoiding plateaus. So when we talk about avoiding plateaus, what a plateau in the gym is you've been steady. Think about what a plateau in real life is. It's a shape that goes up and then it's flat, right? So on a graph being time versus how much progress you've made, that's what we mean when we talk about plateaus in the gym. So when you're a beginner, you're going to go through a stage where it's everything you do seems to be wow, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting bigger, I feel great. And then you're going to get to a point where you kind of start to stagnate. Maybe it's a little bit flat. So that's what a plateau is. Let's talk about how to address those. Accountability, first of all. Use a workout partner or an app or a community. Props to you guys. You're already part of a community for accountability. I know that we have accountability tabs for each of the pillars of the community. We talk to each other daily. We talk to each other weekly. We meet every week. So, that's already one thing down, especially in this aspect. Accountability is huge because a lot of times we find it easier to accomplish things and dedicate ourselves to things when it is for somebody else, or when we have somebody constantly telling us it needs to get done. And a workout partner, if you've got somebody, man, that lives by you and that is interested in starting to go with you, there's nothing better at keeping you accountable than having a gym partner. That was honestly what I did. The only reason that I was able to stay consistent in the first year of my fitness journey. I used to wake up before school, 5 a.m. It was the worst thing ever. I hated it. I'm not a morning person. But my buddy, he's a really big guy, still is to this day. He wanted to go and he wanted the best for me, and he knew that I truly wanted to go too. He had a better time waking up in the morning. And so that was our thing. If I ever told him, I'd text him, I'd be like, no, Jim. He'd be like, no, you're already awake. Let's go. And I'd be like, you're right. Okay, let's go. And then once you're in the gym, if you you just kind of feed off of each other's energy. It's such a great opportunity for you to keep yourself accountable, and you both benefit. So if you can get a workout partner, for sure, try that out. If you have a wife or a husband, automatic workout partner. If you got a best friend, automatic workout partner. Do it together. Second tip here is to set regular check-ins for progress. So if you're not actively writing things down, at least every once in a while, every 2 weeks, every month, sit down and be honest with yourself and say, what have I accomplished? Because if your goal is to lose weight and you haven't seen any change in the scale, like how much you weigh in a month, are you really doing all you can to achieve this goal? Ask yourself, what have I accomplished? If the answer is nothing, you got to reevaluate. Come to the community, come to your instructors, say, hey, it's been a month, I haven't noticed any progress. Here's what I'm doing, and be super honest, so that people around you and yourself can see. Oh, maybe you need to improve in this sector. Maybe you need to add a little bit more weight. Actually make sure you're going. It looks like you took a little bit extra rest days, and maybe you didn't really need that. You're not eating well, whatever it is. Ask yourself, what have I accomplished, and let that be the driver for continuously accomplishing from then on. And then from there, make adjustments as you improve. That should read. Make adjustments as you improve. We keep talking about it pretty much every lesson for the last 5. Progressive overload. You have to continuously adjust the intensity of how you're training to match how strong you have become. I've said that so many times. I'll just move on to the next point. But you also can. So this is kind of moving into, I guess, that point, and then this last point is kind of moving into how to avoid a plateau. If you notice you're hitting a plateau, things are kind of just stagnating for you. Things are, you haven't seen much improvement. A way to kind of combat that is to incorporate some new exercises or volumes. And when we say volumes, we mean the amount of times you're doing an exercise or the amount of repetitions or how long you're in the gym. Switch something up. Instead of just kind of doing the same thing that your body is used to, that you've consistently done, switch it up. Go do something new. Go do something for a longer period of time. Go do something heavier. Do something different. Don't just do the same thing that's been working if you notice it's not working anymore, right? So that's how you avoid a plateau. Make adjustments and improve. Progressive overload. Switch something up if you need to. All right, putting this all together, what you're going to want to do is utilize a structured plan to reach maximum progress. You're going to want to go specifically using the tips we've given you in those 2 slides about it. You want to tailor your plan to your specific goals. You want to make sure this makes sense for you and that you're actually going to achieve it. You want to find a way to track your progress, whether that means you download one of those apps. I don't know the names of any of them. Otherwise, I'd give them to you. Maybe I can throw them in the chat. But use an app, use a notebook, use your notes app in your phone. Find a way to track your progress. Log everything you can. Same thing as tailoring your plan. Be as specific as possible with what you track. And then constantly provide yourself new challenges. You don't want to just be doing the same old thing over and over that hasn't been working, right? Do what works until it doesn't. And then tweak small things, right? Do a little bit more weight. Stay in the gym a little bit longer. Do some more cardio. Do whatever it is you got to do. Just figure it out. Talk to your community and get it done. That's all we got to say about that. With that, we're going to see you guys for the last lesson next time.